You know the old saying that says, the truth is not just a simple black pen. No, the truth is not a simple page you read, but it's a story you see as you follow along through it. And yet, when you turn the page, it turns out to be only blank, because that is the origin of the entire story. Do you know what I'm trying to say about that? Well, what I'm trying to say about that is we are dropping a chapter I don't necessarily like. Well, to be honest, it was extremely good. But it's also giving us a hint that, once again, the story about Demon King Siggy is a lot darker than we want to admit. And also, why? What is going on around here? Something ominous is in the air. Duh, well, it's been ominous for a while, but what I mean is there is an ominous situation here that details that maybe we are heading towards a big tragedy, and I hate tragedy. They are necessary in stories, but I hate them anyway because that just means bad guys will win and all. So, yeah, this is me, the Anger Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer, although I technically mostly is Review Aiden Zero nowadays. And the training arc continues, although minor spoiler alert, it ends in this chapter. But the ending of this chapter, oh man, that is something. First off, a sexy cover page. It's our little girl, Xiao Mei, doing a martial girl arts style. Well, she has the one. She actually appears and narrates everything that happened to Foresta about the Machine Rebellion, how they met the Sinolith, and then they began training, which she looked forward to, as well as detailing about Shura heading out as to defeat Siggy, as well as Elsie and Justice going after them. So yeah, she knows a lot of things. And so the training begins now again, with Wise practicing shooting, and actually Sinnoh is saying that he's not exactly aiming in the gun, even though he is, even though he has hit the target, mostly because you don't control the recoil. You pull the trigger too hard. You never be a marksman that way. Also, even trains Homura by saying that pit off foot, while Rebecca still has trouble activating the gear. Shiki is doing some minor sparring on Senolith, but he can still throw him away. Although saying that once again that gravity is the weight of the heart. The stronger the heart, the stronger is gravity. And given that we know Shiki as a very kind-hearted person, that can be very strong. But it does say, but we'll also need inner tranquility to endure that weight. In other words, strike a balance between strength and tranquility of your heart, or you will fall, or your gravity will fall to darkness. Never forget, the fall to darkness is the fall to Siggy. Possibly implying once again that the fall of the gravity can happen, and it's also very likely that that's what Shura did. He couldn't find an inner tranquility, so he just fell into darkness for it all. Also, we see some final Laguna join the team, and for some very strange reason, uh, Jin is doing sumo thing against Moscow. But don't worry, Jin is not better. While Rebecca still trains in the Eden Zero now she's even tied up even in that situation, which of course sister is liking. As you all know, she is an ex-dominatrix that also seems to have a thing for towards ladies doing that. I mean, if that is not something you wonder, then this chapter basically confirms it, that she has even hard eyes of it all. She loves tormenting all, but it's not been a confirmation yet if she's a bisexual dominatrix or you just prefer to do this on ladies. Either way, the funniest thing is here that we see actually Xiao Mei in a bathtub and actually says something that is basically like, hey, you know what? Never mind to the audience. One of the reasons why Xiao Mei is one of the best girls of this manga. Her self-aware narration, it is so perfect here. And what she's saying is, but training sequences are boring, so we're just gonna move ahead about 7 days. Now that's how you move a story. Well played, Hiromashima. And with that, she ends well her narration and everything else. And Senomilth, of course, stays behind in the ship while taking care of Aruna as well. now possibly adopting her, as well as saying that uh, Sinolith actually has a robot, the same model as as Mimi, the girl. I mean, the robot that Mim Aruna lost. You know what would be so fun? It would be so fun if it actually Sinolith adopted Aruna and actually taught her the Saturn's gravity. Wouldn't that be something? But nah, that's not gonna happen. So either way, they part of it all from with good terms. But the fact, and he even says that I can even train you more if you feel like it. But the ending of this conversation also begs with the witch asking Sinolith, when did he meet Siggy the first time? And he offhandedly says, I met him the first time about 100 years ago. But it doesn't exactly know how it were. Again, don't remember. There is something here that is there is a clue here. Something is here that I am missing. And then he says that the last time he saw him was 15 years ago, but he was alone because a guy like Senolith would remember beautiful babes. Siggy was alone, and Nadia said the same thing. Siggy was alone when he came to the Red Cave. So what is going on here? Even the Free Star Shrine Maidens are very confused about all this because, according to them, 15 years ago was the time they were built and left the Grand Bell, which probably means that they. In a way, that should mean that these robots are actually 15 years old if they were built exactly. Oh, wait. Oh, if they were exactly built 15 years ago. And that will also mean that Shiki is around 15 years old. Although, if you ask me, he looks more like 18, not 15. But that would mean that the Straw Maidens are actually 15 years old, although they are technically built like adults, except, of course, for Hermito. It doesn't matter. But the fact that they're saying that they have no memories of everything outside the Sakura cosmos, which means that what they have been doing at that time is erased. And they were on a quest to find Mother, but they found Shiki and returned home. As Witch says, did something happen to necessitate the erasure of memories, or perhaps something else? Well, we don't know. Also, it seems that a new crew member has joined everything else. Who is that? Well, none other than the glutton lady couch poo. And here's actually another thing. Jin at this point has always been nothing more than a sociopath, but here he remarkably shows some sort of empathy. Maybe the cure of his sister was all he needed. Something like this ship is about to be caught in a war. It's not a safe place for civilians. Of course, one reason why Couchboy is staying is because she is so much madly in love with the kitchen, saying that she can make wonderful videos here. Of course, she even says, "Can it be more dangerous than taking away any unknown food from me?" So yeah, seems like she's temporarily joining the crew, even though she's kind of useless. But the rest of this chapter, though, gives a very dark turn on everything we have learned so far because it is so damn confusing. For the first time in a very long while, we see Eden's won again. As someone reports to Siggy that the coup against Foresta was a failure. And he even sees the picture of everyone in the crew. Yes, everyone except, of course, Jin and Klein and Laguna. But then the Dark Stars, specifically Clown, says, your resolve hasn't been shaken. But here Siggy reveals something strange. He had lost apparently, this Siggy had lost his memories. And he woke up one day and was building a theme park on Granville without a care in the world. Apparently implying that it was he who founded the Granville Kingdom 100 years ago. And the reason why he searched for Mother was to retrieve his stolen memories. But instead he found a baby Shiki and sensed there was something in him that was more precious than his memories, so he decided to raise him. But once his energy ran out, he came back to life with all his memories revived, including the reason why he was so drawn to Shiki and remember why he couldn't let him live. And now possibly implying that the dark Ziggy we see now is actually the original Ziggy. And the light Ziggy that we know at the beginning of the story, the one that the Star Maidens knew, is a fake personality created once Ziggy lost his memories over 100 years ago. I mean, this is so damn confusing! What is going on here? I do not like that. I do not like to hear that the dark personality is the real one. But it also does make sense. Why? Well, not because he's looking evil like a demon king. Because remember what the assistant to Draken Yor said a very long time ago. He said, I believe Eden's 110 was controlled by the Demon King who ruled the Sakura cosmos once upon a time. And so far we have gotten a single clue on why Ziggy used to rule the Sakura cosmos. More importantly, why did he live in Granbell? And this implies that the Dark Ziggy lost his memories, became the Light Ziggy, built that theme park because it was no longer evil. Traveled to find his mother, but instead found Shiki and decided to raise him. But once he died and came back to life, everything was remembered, including the memories of his original personality. At least that seems to implying. But also saying that why he was drawn to Shiki and also why he cannot let him live. Because even the wizard wonders if it's a threat. It prevents his work. He says that he is a threat to machines, but to the entire universe, an existence not allowed to exist. And in other words, he has no family, as suddenly the body of Ziggy begins to break apart and says that I have no family. I am the one who will crush those foolish humans. Now let us begin. We will start by taking our cosmos, as suddenly the Dark King Ziggy discards his original outfits and changes into an even more evil look. That is, even if you ask me, practically even more a Demon King's look. And how can we describe that look? Actually, it's kind of hard to describe. Don't get me wrong, he doesn't look that different. But the best way I can describe it is that now he is completely covered in black. His cape has been replaced by a complete black one. His skulls have disappeared. The chest piece has gotten almost like a mouthpiece along with the emblem and all. And his dark horns are now bigger. His skull is still there, but now his grin is even more exposed. Yeah, this is a threatening design. It also seems to change his legs, although we do not see his legs, because a lot of people complain that his legs looks kind of goofy for such a badass design. So if he has now changed his design even more, well, then that's badass. So he proclaims, we will take the Aoi Cosmos. Nero's empire will be mine, Ziggy proclaims. Okay, a very confusing chapter. A very confusing chapter, mind you. Because again, the theorists should begin theorizing here, but I cannot make head or tails of things. Okay, what do we know? What we know is that Zenolith says that he met Ziggy 100 years ago, and we can assume it was that time he taught him the ether gear. 100 years ago, Ziggy lost his memories. 100 years ago, he built the Granbell Kingdom. And if we're going on what Dark Ziggy said is true, then the Dark Ziggy was the original Ziggy, and the Light Ziggy was merely a fake persona that was created once the memories was erased. And in these moments, he wanted to know what he was missing, so he went on to find Mother. But he only did that 15 years ago, which was also the time when he met, reunited with Nadia, or not reunited, when he met Nadia again, along with Zenolith. But the other maidens were not there. They said they were built 15 years ago and headed towards that, where he taught them love, respect for humanity, and all that. Then he met Shiki, saw he was very precious, took him, raised him. Then he got his memories back and realized that Shiki is in existence, that is dangerous. That's basically it. Something like that. Again, there's no implications or proof here that implies that the Dark Ziggy is the true Dark real personality. But judging from what's, because again, this is an evil Ziggy. He could very well just be telling one thing of that is the lie. But so far, it does imply that yes, the dark Ziggy that we are seeing currently is the true Ziggy, and the light one that we saw, that was a fake personality that somehow was created once the memories was lost from dark Ziggy. But how, why, and for what reason? More importantly, why is Shiki so important, and why is he a threat to not only to Ziggy's plan but to everything? Does that go hand in hand what Mother said in the second chapter of this entire series? Remember, we haven't met Mother, but we have only gotten a handful of lines from her. And one of the most important lines she said was, "The boy has set out the journey. Will he bring forth peace to the universe or wreak havoc as a demon king?" I thought that implied was because, well, Shiki had gained the power of a Ziggy. But all this also implies that Mother knows about Shiki, and there is something about Shiki that is special. Even the narration says that his name will change the universe. So what is it about Shiki that makes him so dangerous? Because it's clear Shiki is not just one normal 15-year-old boy or something like that. He is something. It could just be evil Ziggy being paranoid, but why is Shiki a threat to the entire galaxy, an existence that shouldn't exist? That is what I don't understand. Something is not right here. We're missing a piece of the puzzle. And I do not know what to do. Because again, I do not like the fact that this implies that the Dark Ziggy is the real Ziggy. But that does explain why the Dark Star existed. But also, does that imply that the four Star Shrine Maidens were evil as well? However, because the memories were lost, they lost that evilness and became good. Is this all to show a journey that, despite all the things that is happening, they can choose to be good? Too many questions. But now the story kicks off for real. The training is over. Ziggy is on his way. He proclaims he will have Nero's territory. So it's very likely that the bad guys will win the Aoi saga. But what do you think will happen? Give me your thoughts if you have any.